Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. I'm sure by now you have heard about Donald Trump wanting to give the criminals from January 6th reparations. And there's a lot of people that feel a certain way about that. You know how y'all sit around talking about you don't want your taxpayer money going towards reparations for Black people? Well, I don't want my taxpayer money going to reparations for J6ers that are criminals and don't deserve it. They didn't go through nothing that we didn't go through 10 times worse. And why are the Democrats so silent on this one? Y'all tried to con us with HR 40. You knew that shit was a bunch of nothing. Why didn't you store billions of dollars for our reparations? Y'all don't do shit. I don't even know why you're in office. You don't do nothing. So anyway, Donald Trump comes with real tangibles, and they come with some bullshit called HR 40. And where did that get us? And you know what? We need to shut these mofos down. Every time they tell us they couldn't get nothing pushed through for us, we need to put an end to that BS. And the next one that reared their ugly old head up out of the sand to tell us they can't do nothing, that's the person we need to get out of office for real. Because when it comes down to Donald Trump, he gonna make sure that money gets pushed through. Now, it might be some stumbling blocks, and I'm going to show you one of them where the police officers are trying to block Donald Trump from getting that money and giving it to the January 6ers, because many of these cops that are speaking out got beat up that day. Remember, a couple of cops got beat up. And we know Sick Nick, he was one of the officers that got unalive. And a Latino coroner tried to claim it was natural causes. You know, and that Latino coroner, medical examiner, he needs to go to jail because he lied. He needs to go to jail for falsifying the cause of unaliving of a police officer. So anyway, y'all, Donald Trump put this fund aside just so he can give it to the insurrectionists that broke the law and vandalized the Capitol and smeared their poop and pee all over the place like a bunch of damn cave animals. And they are supposed to be rewarded for that. That's what they want, to be rewarded. Well, these cops have come forward, the ones that were impacted that day, and they're suing Donald Trump. Now, if anything, I would object, but if you gave it to the cops that were harmed that day, I could understand that a little more, but not the people that broke the law. They don't deserve one dime. And y'all, somebody did a calculation and said if Donald Trump is to get this money and give it out, they would literally get $1 million a piece. You notice Donald Trump ain't complaining about these folks getting reparations? And where are the Democrats? Every time we talk about reparations, y'all can't wait to come to the mics to scream, we ain't getting it. Remember what Jim Clyburn did? He started cussing at people. Where are you to cuss about this, James Clyburn? Where's Gavin Newsom? When you sabotaged the California Black residents from getting reparations, you ran on Fox News. How come you didn't run on Fox News to oppose this? You ain't shit, Gavin Newsom. And neither are the Democrats. Y'all don't do nothing for us. You don't do a damn thing. If somebody put a mic up in your face right now, you just go babbling off about some damn immigrants. You would never speak about us. And when you do it in a sneaky way. The Black community and people of color. See, that's what they'll stand there and do. I don't give a damn about what's acceptable in this society. We are a hell of a lot more entitled to reparations than some damn law-breaking January 6ers. You can't even justify it. Donald Trump can justify it based on racism. That's all. This is all about racism. But if you get in front of Donald Trump right now and say reparations for slavery, he would have a meltdown in front of the mic. So there's no doubt about it. The objections are all about race. From the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and Donald Trump himself. When they brought up reparations back in his first term, he said, I don't see it happening. That's what he said. I don't see it happening. But you see this happening. But look at it this way, y'all. Chalk it up this way. It's a criminal giving money to other criminals. That's all this is at the end of the day. Donald Trump is a criminal, and he's trying to make sure other criminals get money. So this article came out, y'all, in the New York Times today. All right. So this came out in the New York Times. So when the word got out that Donald Trump is trying to, give this funding out that he put aside for January 6ers, and you're going to see a lot of people asking Donald Trump, well, how are you giving money to people that attack cops? But let me explain how. See, if cops are attacked by us, okay, and a lot of times if we are doing it, we're literally defending ourselves because these cops have attacked us so often for centuries. When we do decide to raise our hand, it's to defend ourselves. These J6ers, they threw the first punch at the cops. So this is how I see it. To Donald Trump, if you attack a cop and you look like us, they should throw the book at you. If you attack a cop and you look like Donald Trump, he's willing to look the other way. See, he talks all that law and order. I want y'all to know that talk is exclusively for the Black community. That's not for his people. So when he's talking about, oh, he's the president of law and order, I don't know how anybody with 34 convictions is a law and order president. That sounds like a load of bullshit. But what he's really saying, law and order, that's for us. That's exclusively for us, not for his people. His people can attack cops and unalive a cop, and he wants to put money in their hands. So let's get this whole thing in the right perspective. Let's get it in the right perspective. When it comes down to reparations, it's all about race. It's all about race. As long as you are a non so-called black man and woman in this society, it's okay to give you money. If you look like us and you're a descendant of slave, then it's not okay to give us money. It's all about race. I promise you, if those insurrectionists were us and we went up there and stormed the Capitol, he wouldn't be talking about giving us one red cent. In fact, him and all of the media and the politicians would be dragging us to this day. Them N-words went up there to the Capitol and peed and poop all over the place. Look at what these N-words did. They would be dragging the hell out of it even to this day. But because this was a white crowd, Donald Trump, when he gives them money, y'all, he's seeing them as heroes. You may not agree with me, but that's how I see it. He sees them, what they did on that day, he sees that as heroic. And he wants to reward them for that. But us going to the streets, according to Project 2025, if we step out on the streets, he wants to reward us with martial law. Yes, it's all about race. It's all about race. So, two officers who tried to defend the Capitol, they are suing. And they argue, what Donald Trump is doing would benefit rioters who committed violence to support the president. The lawsuit argues the administration exceeded its authority to create the fund without Congress authorization. All right. So he's doing this without Congress. That's what he's doing. All right. So if you want to know, the officers, here are two of the officers. And they're objecting to what Donald Trump is trying to do. So instead of giving money to the officers who said they were trying to defend the Capitol, Donald Trump is giving it to the ones that hit them, threw objects at them, beat on them, used bear spray on them, and all kinds of stuff that they brought up there. So, y'all, I want to know why the Democrats are so silent on this. I want to know why y'all are so silent. And whenever we say anything about reparations, how come y'all always got something to say about that? But the January 6ers getting it, nobody heard a peep. Where are you, James Clyburn? Weren't you cussing at your little fish fry at someone that brought up, I think it was Marcel Dixon, that brought up reparations? Weren't you trying to pretty much tell him to shut up talking about reparations? We ain't getting no reparation. Yeah, we're not getting it because people like you that are in office are sorry as hell. That's why we're not getting it. So it just goes to show you, y'all, nobody is going to fight for reparations unless it's us. It's not going to be anybody in political office. It's not going to be the president. It's not going to be your governor. All right? It's not going to be any of that. We're going to have to do it ourselves. Plain and simple. But we know, and I know the Most High is going to get everything from these people, everything that they took. I know that. I'm fully aware. But I'm just saying that the people that have gotten our votes are not going to lift a finger to help us. They will not create any policies on our behalf. They're not going to give us any kind of crime bill, although we are the most attacked people out here. They're not going to give us a crime bill. They're not going to give us reparations. They don't care about our situation. When things happen, Congress, and especially the Congressional Black Caucus, anything that happened to us out on these streets, they stay silent. They don't have nothing to say. Where's Akeem Jeffries? How come you're not speaking out on this? Where's your old squarehead ass? Why aren't you saying anything? Sitting up there looking like fucking SpongeBob and never have nothing to say. But when it comes time to vote, all of a sudden y'all got eyes that can see us. And all of these churches out here, you need to stop hosting these politicians. It is very clear from this act alone where they want to give reparations to insurrectionists, but not the community that comes to your church. That alone should inspire every single pastor in the Black community to keep these politicians out, especially if this is in the forefront and they're not speaking up. But you know what the sad part is? Y'all won't keep them out. You know why they keep letting those politicians in the church? Because these pastors are getting money. They're getting paid. That's why. They're going to always open their doors to a bunch of politicians that want to come around once every 4 years and then spend their political career doing absolutely nothing for us. And that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll look at these videos on this subject matter. And y'all, since the Democratic Party don't want to do for us, we should not be doing for them. Plain and simple. Giving us HR 40 for years and coming back with no results is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And Donald Trump is getting this done, and he's only been in office a little past a year. And he already got money put aside to give to people that committed crimes. And the Democrats, some of these folks have been sitting in office for decades, and they don't have not one red penny put aside to give to us. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
Do you believe that people who committed violence against Capitol Hill police officers on January 6th should be eligible for compensation from this DOJ fund? And are you or your family members going to be seeking compensation from that fund?
It'll all be dependent on a committee. A committee's being set up of very talented people, very highly respected people. I think it's a committee of 5. And again, I didn't do this deal. It was told to me yesterday. They said they're doing something. I do believe there has to be compensation for people that were destroyed. You have families absolutely destroyed, and it's all going to be determined by a committee of 4 or 5 people that are respected and very brilliant at what they do. Yeah.
You previously told me that anyone who assaulted a police officer on January 6th should go to prison. So why not rule out giving them taxpayer-funded money?
Well, Caitlin, what I said is we're going to look at everything case by case.
But why not rule it out?
Because, Caitlin, there are people who I don't know their individual circumstances, and I don't rule things out categorically when I know nothing about a person's individual circumstances. Let's say a person is accused, let's say hypothetically, a person is accused of doing something that they never actually did, that they got a kangaroo court, that they had a judge who mistreated them. I think that we should look at those things case by case. We're not making commitments to give.
That sounds like a damn excuse. Okay, so I guess next they're going to come up to the mic and say the cops beat themselves up, and the one that got unalived, he unalived himself during the insurrection. I guess they did this all to themselves. So this is just a BS answer. This man is so incompetent, it's not even funny. Donald Trump is not fit to be a president, and J.D. Vance damn sure ain't fit to be no VP. These people are so incompetent, but y'all got the nerve to sit around talking about some DEI. You're the biggest DEIs on the planet.
Give anybody money. We're just making commitments to look at things case by case.
The Justice Department has this new fund that was announced today, $1.7 billion.
Yeah.
Why should taxpayers pay for the January 6th?
Well, it's been very well received, I have to tell you. I know very little about it. I wasn't involved in the whole creation of it and the negotiation. But this is reimbursing people that were horribly treated. It's anti-weaponization. They've been weaponized. They've been, in some cases, imprisoned wrongly. They paid legal fees that they didn't have. They've gone bankrupt. Their lives have been destroyed. And they turned out to be right. I mean, it was a terrible period of time in the history of our country. And they worked on it. I know the Justice Department, it's really been working on it very hard. There's been numerous other occasions over the years where things like this have been done, but these were people that were weaponized and really treated brutally by a system that was so corrupt, with corrupt people running it, and they're getting reimbursed for their legal fees and the other things that they had to suffer.
Donald Trump was impeached for inciting an insurrection, and now he wants to pay the insurrectionists who went to work for him.
This is reimbursing people that were horribly treated. It's anti-weaponization. They've been weaponized. They've been, in some cases, imprisoned wrongly.
Okay, so during chattel slavery, our forefathers weren't horribly treated. During Reconstruction, where 200 towns got burnt down by white mobs, they weren't horribly treated. Jim Crow, 100 years of Jim Crow, we weren't horribly treated. The crack epidemic, we weren't horribly treated. Okay? And your cops still come to the street and execute us. We weren't horribly treated. Man, get out of here. Them folks, they went there at their own accord. They didn't have to go up to that Capitol. They could have took their ass home. So when you have a choice, there is no way I'm going to go with they were horribly treated. We got in a situation where y'all wrote laws against us. You had policies against us. You carried out things against us in the streets. Look, we are the most accused of stealing in stores even to this day. And in most instances, we haven't stolen a thing. So horribly treated. No, honey, nobody have been treated worse up in here than us. So Donald Trump, you ain't making the case at all.
They paid legal fees that they didn't have. They've gone bankrupt. Their lives have been destroyed. And they turned out to be right.
So y'all be real loud when black people say we.
How many of our lives have been destroyed by this government? The exonerations alone, where our men are accused of crimes they never commit and they're in jail for 2, 3, 4, 5 decades. You didn't destroy their life. I mean, really, Donald Trump? You couldn't come up with one thing that these folks can't, what happened to them on that day was self-inflicted. It was self-inflicted. You couldn't come up with one thing that they went through that we did not go through, and it was far worse. We didn't ask for these things to happen to us. But those folks could have took their asses home. Nobody was taking a choice away from them. They could have went home and dealt with the fact that you lost the presidential race. That's what they could have done. They did not have to stay up at the Capitol and commit crimes. They broke into offices. They went into places they should not have been. They vandalized the place. They left a trail of poop and pee all over the place. They didn't have to do that. When they saw it was going to be a problem, they could have turned their ass around and left. So I don't want to hear about how horrible it was for them when they had the choice to leave. But they chose to stay and commit crimes. Somebody like that don't deserve reparations. I don't care what they got. That what they had on their criminal records deserved to be there for what they did that day. We got people sitting in prison right now that did not commit one single crime, or they've been misidentified. A whole different person committed the crime, but they're sitting in jail. But you're going to tell me what these folks went through on one damn day is so horrible they need to be compensated. If y'all don't get the fuck out of my damn face with that crap, it's all about race. It's all about race.
Deserve reparations for building this country, but y'all ain't saying nothing about how Trump wants to spend $2 billion giving money to January 6th traitors. The degree to how much the United States just hates black people is truly astounding.
This is a MAGA victimization fund that is sanctioned by Donald Trump. How dare he? How dare he? You look in the face and you justify this to the families of the police officers who were beaten, who were almost killed, to the people who were killed, to the people whose careers are ruined. I don't know about you, Scott, but I spent time with those officers and their families, and their lives have been ruined. And unlike you, tonight you're saying this, but Todd Blanche could not say that today during his Senate hearing. Neither could J.D. Vance say and guarantee to the American people that any of those violent bastards who did that to those people who tried to overthrow our election on January 6th would not get a dime from this. American tax dollars should not go to this. This is dishonorable. It's grotesque. And anyone who tries to hide behind some kind of patriotism behind this should be ashamed of themselves. Look in the eyes of the families of the people who suffered on January 6th. You know who the victim is here? Them and our democracy. And shame on anyone who tries to justify this. And it's our dollars that they're robbing to do this. It's grotesque.
When I tell you this is some bullshit, this is some bullshit. This is some bullshit. This is some bullshit. This is some bull.
And all the black people who voted for Trump and are screaming and shouting reparations, guess what? He just took out $1,776,000,000 for the insurrectionists. You know, those guys on January 6th that beat up police officers and damaged the Capitol? Yes, he took out money to compensate them. 1776. Confederate flag dog whistle, isn't it?
Secret Service Sam here, and the Trump administration is giving out $1,776,000,000. You see how they did it? 1776. They always have to do that. A slush fund. They are giving reparations to the J6ers, the people who stormed the Capitol, an insurrection. They're giving them reparations before Black Americans get reparations? What? What? Are you not hearing this? And guess what? I mean, he originally was suing for $10 billion, but I'm going to settle with Todd Blanche, his own lawyer. This has got to be one of the most corrupt things that has ever happened in the history of our country. For those of you who don't understand, January 6th, MAGA stormed the Capitol. Now, here's my question. I thought it was the FBI and Antifa. So you're rewarding Antifa and the FBI all this money? Our money. We work hard. Your tax-paying dollars are going to pay off the QAnon shaman. Enrique Tarrio, the head of the Proud Boys, will now get some of this slush fund money. And guess what? The DOJ is not going to reveal any of these names, so you won't even know. Rudy Giuliani What did he do but dress up in drag with Donald Trump and let him sniff his mini mountains? What are we doing? Wake up, America. Reparations for white racist J6ers before Black Americans. They don't deserve it. They stormed our Capitol. They desecrated our Capitol. They put their feet up on the desk of democracy, and you guys let him reward this? Nobody thinks this is wrong? This is insanity. This would be like when they blew up Black Wall Street, if they awarded the white supremacists for it. Like, good job. This is like when they marched in Charlottesville. They will not replace us with their little Home Depot tiki torches. And you said, here, guys, let's reimburse you for the damages. A lot of horrible things have happened to these. Good. That's what happens when you storm the Capitol. You go to jail. But no, he pardoned everybody. And half of those people who have been pardoned are right back in prison where they belong. This is crazy. What do you guys think? Secret Service Sam out, Samson for president of the world.
I want to be very clear that if a candidate is running for the presidential election in 2028 and they do not mention a reparations package for Black Americans, they will not get my vote. And I did not stutter. The Justice Department just announced a nearly $1.8 billion fund. For what, might you ask? Well, I'll tell you. It is a fund to compensate Trump supporters who believe that they were terrorized by the previous administration. The fund will compensate Trump's allies who believe they have been unjustly investigated and prosecuted. It will allow people who believe they were targeted for prosecution for political purposes, including by the Biden administration, to apply for payouts. And if you were wondering, yes, that includes January 6ers. They will receive reparations for their racism. They will receive reparations for their terrorism, all while folks are still trying to convince people that the Democratic Party is doing anything for the benefit of the Black voter or the Black community as a whole. And while people continuously say, well, Republican voters, they don't care. They're going to put their people in place. I'd say they're getting something quite substantial in return. It is a reminder that the United Nations just declared that the transatlantic slave trade was the most grievous occurrence in history, which water is wet, but enough is enough. And if anyone that is running for president in 2028 does not have a reparations package for Black Americans, they will not get my vote. Point blank and the period.
So Donald Trump's Department of Justice has just set up a $1.7 billion slush fund to make whole the individuals that were prosecuted under the Biden administration for what they did on January 6th. $1.7 billion of American taxpayer money to support those who tried to overthrow our government. The very people who tried to take out the former Vice President of the United States and the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, on Donald Trump's orders. I want you guys to fully understand what is happening here. That our president is pimping this country out and selling us to the highest bidder and giving money to many of whom that he pardoned when he got in office last year have gone back to jail for essaying kids. But they don't talk about that on the news. And we got the nerve to be outside with these No King protests, going to City Hall, asking for permission to protest against this corrupt ass government. Enough. If you really want to see change, it's going to take complete disruption of the whole system. No more requesting to protest. Go out and protest. Shut the streets down. Because this president is out of control.
So let me get this shit straight. For generations, Black Americans asked the federal government for reparations over slavery, segregation, lynching, stolen wealth, redlining, Jim Crow, the Tulsa Race Massacre, discriminatory GI bills, mass incarceration, actual government harm. And Washington kept saying, too expensive, too divisive. Congress will never approve it. The Trump administration wants to use almost $2 billion to compensate January 6th rioters who stormed the fucking Capitol. Baby, the math is mathing a little too fucking hard right now. So apparently the government does know how to move fast when it wants to. They want to use a federal account taxpayers already fund. The same type of mechanism Representative Al Green wanted to use for Tulsa race massacre survivors. That means the issue of payment was never an issue. It was an issue of political will. And let's be honest about what this looks like to Black people. This government spent decades dragging its fucking feet on anti-lynching laws, voting rights protections, and reparations for descendants of slavery, but allegedly got the speed of fucking DoorDash when it came to people tied to an attack on democracy itself. That's why folks are angry, because government compensation tells you whose pain America respects and whose pain America debates until the victims die. And if this administration can use executive power to repair January 6th defendants, then nobody better ever say reparations for Black people is fucking hard.
Exactly. And y'all, don't let these white people ever again say to us, I don't want to give my tax dollar to no slave reparations. Always remind, but you want to give your money to criminals on January 6th. Your argument is now officially dead. You ain't going to go nowhere with that one ever again. If you ain't upset that these criminals that stormed the Capitol is going to get compensated, then you better not say a goddamn word. When we raise the issue of reparations, you no longer have a leg to stand on now. Your kickstand leg is now officially amputated. So, y'all, this place is a trip. Oh, MC to the X Project, thank you so much for the 27-month membership. They said everything they did to us was legal because there are laws on the books that made it right. So they said they owe us nothing because they did nothing wrong. That scripture fulfilled for real. Thank you. And you ain't never lie. Thank you so much. Yeah, well, according to the laws, if we're going to go by the laws, then we should go by the laws when it comes down to the January 6ers. According to law, they committed a crime when they stormed the Capitol. They committed a crime when they vandalized the place and kicked in office doors of politicians and took laptops and anything they wanted out of the office. According to those same laws, they should be in jail. But it's funny, when y'all do something that's against the law, you got a white president that's willing to get you out of the whole thing. And you got somebody that's willing to compensate you. So all I got to say is there is no justifiable reason to compensate anybody from January 6th. And if you do compensate them, then you have no justifiable reason for not compensating us. Period. So y'all, I'm going to go ahead and this is all the more reason when you pray to the Most High, pray against this place for real. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. So y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the father of AI. Yes, it's a Black scientist. And it's David Harold Blackwell. In fact, there is a chip that they use in AI named after him, Blackwell. So we will get into talking about that at 3:45. So I will see you all then. Have a wonderful afternoon. Shalom, family.